When I was working as an analyst in the corporate banking sector, reviewing the portfolios of ultra-high net worth individuals, I noticed a really fascinating pattern. The people who built truly unbreakable, multi-generational wealth, they didn't do it by simply collecting a massive paycheck and throwing it into a standard savings account. In fact, relying solely on your primary income is literally the fastest way to let inflation slowly erode your hard work. Take a look at Lionel Messi. You probably know him as the greatest football player to ever walk the planet, a man who's literally won everything imaginable from Champions League titles to the World Cup. But what if I told you that kicking a ball is actually the least interesting way Messi makes his money?
It's true. See, most elite athletes follow a tragically predictable blueprint. They sign a massive contract, buy a fleet of hypercars, purchase an oversized mansion, and then, they end up filing for bankruptcy within 10 years of retirement. It happens all the time. But Messi? He chose a completely different path.
He quietly executed an absolute masterclass in sophisticated asset management. He turned his millions into a massive $1.2 billion empire through unconventional, high-leverage investments that most traditional financial advisors would consider absolutely insane. So if you want to transition from just earning a living to building true automated passive income, we need to stop looking at Messi as just an athlete and start studying him as a venture capitalist. Let's dive straight into this explainer.
Rule number 1. Leverage the public markets. To understand exactly how global elites scale their wealth, we have to look at Messi's first massive financial play. I'm talking about his real estate empire, managed under his holding company Edicio Restal. While his teammates were busy spending their weekly wages on depreciation magnets like Ferraris and Lamborghinis, Messi was quietly purchasing premium commercial real estate. We're talking office buildings in Madrid, retail spaces in Barcelona, and high-yield mixed-use developments in Milan. But here's the catch. Holding physical real estate can make you asset-rich and cash-poor. It totally lacks immediate liquidity. So what did Messi do? Well, on December 30th, 2024, he executed a textbook financial masterstroke. He actually took his real estate company public as a real estate investment trust, or a REIT. Think of a REIT like a massive communal property fund. Instead of owning the buildings entirely by himself and taking on 100% of the operational risk, Messi listed the company on the public market.
He valued the portfolio at exactly $57 per share. And this did two brilliant things simultaneously. First off, it unlocked massive liquidity, which allowed outside retail and institutional investors to basically fund his future property acquisitions. Second, because it's structured like a tight-knit family business, with Messi as chairman, his wife Antonella Rocuzzo as vice president, and his brother Rodrigo administering the day-to-day operations, he maintained absolute executive control while using other people's capital to scale. The wealth lesson here is absolutely crucial. Never lock up all your net worth in illiquid assets. If you want to build true velocity with your money, you must find ways to leverage public markets and corporate structures to scale your portfolio without draining your personal cash reserves.
Rule number 2. Monetize your safe havens. Back in 2017, Messi walked into a closed-door meeting with the Majestic Hotel Group to form a brand called MIM Hotels. Now, I know what you're thinking. On the surface, a celebrity buying a luxury hotel sounds incredibly cliché, right? But Messi's approach was deeply strategic and highly emotional.
The very first hotel he acquired was located on the coast of Sitges, just outside Barcelona. And this wasn't some random choice based on a spreadsheet. Back when Messi was a young, rising star facing immense, frankly suffocating pressure at FC Barcelona, Sitges was his personal escape. Whenever the noise of the media and the weight of expectations became too heavy to bear, he would drive down to this exact seaside town to clear his mind and reset his psychology. So when he became a billionaire, he didn't just visit his safe haven, he bought it. He partnered with Majestic because they possessed the operational expertise that he lacked. He provided the capital and the irreplaceable star power, while they managed the hospitality logistics. And he expanded this methodically, opening MIM Baqueira in the Spanish Pyrenees right next to luxury ski lifts, acquiring MIM Sotogrande overlooking the Mediterranean, and eventually expanding the whole shebang to Andorra and Mallorca.
By 2024, this single boutique chain was generating over $50 million in annual revenue. To put that into perspective, the visual analogy I want you to picture is a financial flywheel. Messi took a personal asset, his own fame, and his favorite emotional sanctuaries, and converted them into a premium commercial ecosystem. Every single fan or traveler who stays at a MIM hotel isn't just buying a room, they're paying for a piece of the Messi lifestyle. So to act smart with your own capital, identify the industries, hobbies, or environments you already know inside and out. Don't invest in sectors you don't understand just because they're trendy. Invest where you have personal context and partner with operators who possess the technical execution skills you lack.
Okay, moving on to Rule 3. Prioritize equity over cash. If you want to escape the rat race, you literally have to completely reprogram how you view compensation. Most people work for a linear salary, right? You trade 1 hour of your life for a fixed amount of dollars. Even top-tier athletes often fall into this trap, signing these massive short-term contracts that vanish the second they get injured or retire. But Messi recognized this vulnerability really early on. In 2021, when his historic run with Barcelona came to an unexpected end due to the club's financial mismanagement, which wiped out millions in brand value overnight, by the way, Messi didn't panic. Why? Because his true wealth was anchored in equity and lifetime partnerships. Years prior, he negotiated a lifetime deal with Adidas worth over $130 million annually. He didn't just want a temporary endorsement check, he wanted a permanent revenue share.
Later on, when he transitioned to Inter Miami, he didn't just ask for a high salary. No way. He secured an ownership stake in the club and a cut of international broadcasting revenues, and he used that compounding cash flow to buy a $200 million real estate footprint in the United States. That includes his famous penthouse atop the Porsche design tower in Miami, which actually features a private elevator that lifts his vehicles directly into his living room.
It's like this. Think of cash as water and equity as the well. If you only collect cash, you constantly have to work to bucket more water into your life. But when you own equity, whether that's stocks, a business, or cash-flowing real estate, you own the well itself.
Stop chasing short-term transactional income and start demanding assets that pay you while you sleep.
Which brings us to Rule 4, calculated digital asymmetry. Now, in 2021, the mainstream media thought Messi had completely lost his mind. Cryptocurrencies were volatile, the market was totally chaotic, and Messi decided to make a massive, heavy investment into Sorare. That's an NFT-based digital fantasy football game. Traditional financial commentators called it high-stakes digital gambling. But Messi, he saw it as the inevitable future of fan engagement. Let's break down how Sorare actually works. In traditional fantasy sports, you spend hours setting up your lineup, and if your players win, you get bragging rights or a temporary digital trophy that has literally zero real-world value. Sorare completely flipped the script. They allowed users to buy, sell, and trade officially licensed digital player cards using blockchain technology. So if Kylian Mbappe or Erling Haaland performs exceptionally well in a real-life match, your digital card gains tangible points. This increases its scarcity and cash value on the open market. When Messi invested, the platform had a pretty modest user base of about 2 million people. But within 24 months, backed by partnerships with over 300 global football clubs, Sorare's corporate valuation absolutely skyrocketed to a staggering $800 million. This, right here, is what we call asymmetric risk. Notice that Messi didn't invest his entire net worth into digital assets. Instead, he allocated a calculated percentage of his capital into a highly scalable tech startup, where the downside was limited to the money invested, but the upside was completely exponential. To build massive wealth, you cannot be entirely risk-averse. You've got to keep your foundation secure in stable real estate and public equities while allocating a small, aggressive portion of your portfolio to disruptive, asymmetric digital trends before they go mainstream. And finally, Rule 5, build an incubation engine. As Messi entered his mid-30s, he faced the one opponent that no athlete can ever beat: time. He looked in the mirror and realized his physical reflexes would inevitably slow down and his playing career would eventually end. That realization triggered his most ambitious financial move to date. In 2022, he bypassed traditional sports agencies completely and walked straight into Silicon Valley to establish Playtime Sports Tech LLC. This is a massive $200 million venture capital funded incubation studio. Rather than waiting for startups to pitch him, Messi created his own institutional engine to seek out, fund, and scale bleeding-edge technologies.
The absolute crown jewel of this fund is a company called SuperAnnotate. It's an advanced AI data management platform. While casual investors thought Messi was just chasing another AI trend, his vision was deeply disruptive. SuperAnnotate specializes in training AI systems to analyze hyper-complex human movement patterns and optimize physical performance in real time. Just imagine wearable sensors and computer vision models that can actually detect subtle muscle fatigue long before an athlete even feels it, or predict catastrophic ligament injuries weeks before they actually happen on the pitch.
And Messi didn't just write a check for this. He used his own training sessions with Inter Miami as a living research laboratory. He fed data into the AI to build a system capable of analyzing elite human performance. The ultimate goal? To build a scalable AI framework that can teach the next generation of athletes exactly how to move with optimal efficiency. By building an incubation studio, Messi transitioned from a passive investor into a foundational creator of industry infrastructure. He basically built a system where technology, data, and human capital intersect to create an asset class that will outlive his football career by centuries.
So when we look back at the incredible financial journey of Lionel Messi, we see a true masterclass in modern asset building. He started as a 10-year-old kid in Rosario with a severe growth hormone deficiency that threatened to end his career before it even began. But he overcame that physical limitation through a massive financial gamble by FC Barcelona. And when he finally achieved his dreams on the pitch, he didn't waste his fortune on fleeting luxury. Instead, he methodically applied the 5 core rules we discussed today.
Let's recap really quickly. 1. He unlocked liquidity and scale by taking his real estate public via a REIT structure. 2. He monetized his safe havens by turning personal passions into highly profitable joint venture hotel chains. 3. He consistently prioritized equity, ownership stakes, and lifetime revenue splits over short-term cash payments. 4. He embraced calculated digital asymmetry by investing in high-growth Web3 platforms like SuperAnnotate early on. And 5. He future-proofed his legacy by building a Silicon Valley incubation fund to pioneer the absolute frontier of AI human performance.
So, my question to you is, are you building transactional income or an unbreakable financial legacy? You don't need $1 billion in the bank to start acting like a master strategist. Start applying these exact principles to your own life today. Focus on building automated passive income. Seek out equity opportunities in your career. Partner with experts who perfectly complement your weaknesses, and always keep a portion of your capital ready to deploy into high-leverage, future-proof trends. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about how much money you make, it's entirely about how hard your money works for you. Thank you so much for watching this explainer, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.